Hey everybody, Flashwing. Month of Insanity continues. When my dad was sick, he was diabetic his entire life. He had child onset diabetes during a time period with medical history that diabetic-based medications, insulins, and things like that were not the greatest. You know, he benefited from some modern conveniences, but by and large, he was alive during the pioneer phases of a lot of the different treatments and medications that came out. From the time that I was born, my dad was legally blind. My understanding is that he never actually saw me with his own eyes. By the time that I came into the world, his eyesight had deteriorated. This is the shit we deal with. Every day. 90 some odd times. Well, at least I get the bike warmed up. So, where to begin? When I was about 6 years old, he suffered kidney failure. We were out in the car. I think we were driving back from a restaurant or something, and suffered kidney failure right in the car. What ended up happening was he ended up having fluid backing up into his lungs, and my father was essentially drowning to death on his own bodily fluids. And if it wasn't for the quick thinking of my mother and some incredibly reckless driving, we managed to make it over to an ambulance depot, which is just not too far from here. And she knew exactly what was happening, exactly what was wrong. The paramedics were able to save his life, and they later determined that he had suffered full kidney failure, so he was on dialysis the rest of his life. And then sometime later after that, he had developed, I don't know if it was gangrene, but he had developed an infection in his leg because diabetes causes major circulatory problems. And as a result of that, poor circulation ended up causing infections. It made injuries on his legs harder to heal, took them much longer to heal. And he was up at the University of Chicago. Instead of treating the problem, they ended up just sitting around and trying to decide what they were going to do. And before long, they wasted too much time. The leg became unsavable, and so they amputated one of his legs. So throughout all of this, I mean, we all idolize our fathers. I don't have any delusions about that, but I truly believe that my father was a great man, because throughout all of this, he was blind, he was partially incapacitated, but that didn't stop him from trying to achieve things for himself, for trying to take care of his family. My dad, when I was really young, I was probably 4 or 5, went back to school. And this is a guy who his high school counselors said he would never amount to anything. And he went back to school and got himself a bachelor's of science in data processing. The man learned to program completely blind, and this was at a time period where, equipment for, reading screens and stuff, I mean, that stuff has been included as part of the Windows package for a long time, but this was expensive equipment, and it was crude. But yet he managed to work himself through college over the course of several years and graduated with a bachelor's of science in data processing. This is a man that could, was able to do calculus in his head, partially because it was out of necessity, but it was the fact that he could do it. When I was 13, almost 14 years old, he died. But at the same time, he could have kept going. And once he realized the effect that his health was having on his family, he called it quits. I haven't been here in a long time. There it is. But I was 13, coming home from school, had summer school that year, found my grandmother in my driveway. She mentioned there was something wrong with my dad. Went to the hospital, but my dad didn't want me there. He managed to pass before I got there. This is it. This is the monument that stands to a man that I never really got to know. And it was a little creepy that I got into town on the anniversary of his death. 18 years. When my old man could see me on a bike, they wouldn't believe it. And that bike is here, of all places. But I mean, it's just the missed opportunities, never taught me how to drive, never taught me how to ride, how to drink, how to shave, never taught me about girls, never got to hear any of his stories about the crazy shit. I mean, and you have to understand, I mean, when you're a man that you don't think you're going to live to see 30, you just go butt wild. I mean, and it was for as many times as he possibly cheated death and everything, he would have never have guessed that he would have died middle-aged with a son and a wife. It was never in the cards. But it's hard because you just never had the opportunity to make those kinds of connections with somebody, and you want to desperately. I don't know, it's just everybody, you hear the stories and you realize just how incredible of an individual, and then to forego fighting on. It was, as a kid, you don't really know any better, you don't really know any different, but I mean, you learn to put a smile on your face when you're torn up inside. I can't tell you how many times that he would go to the hospital and there would be a potential for bad news of some kind, and you as a kid, you got to go to school and you got to be normal, because otherwise everybody's asking you what's wrong. And no one understood. How do you explain to your 10-year-old friends, you know, that your dad is sick and you don't know how long he'll be around. I mean, it's not how I would have wanted it to go, but it's what happened. And, you know, there's always a part of me that wishes that I had more time. But, you know, we didn't. My dad fought for years and years and years, and you know, the doctors, he just continued to defy them. The doctors like, well, we don't know, you know, maybe another few years, or I don't know. And the man who wasn't supposed to live to see 30 saw 30, and the man who wasn't supposed to live to see 40 saw 40. And you know, he just held the fuck on all as much as he could, and then he decided it was time. And you know, the bravest man I've ever known, truly. I'm proud to have a father who, through action, demonstrated what kind of an amazing man he was. And I mean, I can only hope to live up to that kind of a standard. And I show this to you guys not out of sympathy, not out of pity, but out of hope. And I know that not all of you out there have stellar relationships with your fathers, and for many of you, due to no fault of your own. And there are fathers out there that don't have stellar relationships with their kids, sometimes due to no fault of their own. I've always encouraged people to try and mend those fences, to try and make it work. Because do it for those of us that don't have dads, who never got a chance to know our fathers. Do it for us. If you can't do it for yourself, you just don't know. You don't. So I hope that, you know, I hope that this maybe resonates with some of you guys. I mean, this is me. This is who I am. You know, I know that to many out there, you guys watch motovloggers. You know, we're dudes on a bike, and that's fine. I want to bring you guys stuff that's real. You know, I want to bring you experiences and things that I see and things that I think and feel. I want to bring you something that's real. And I can't think of, especially from this past weekend being Father's Day, I can't think of anything more real than smacking you in the face with the reality that your parents are not always going to be there. And some of us lost them way before their time. Way before their time. I can't imagine the things that my father would have accomplished if he'd have been healthy. I don't know, for me, it was kind of this is kind of a special moment, and I understand it might seem a little morbid. I assure you that it's not. My dad would have been thrilled to see me on a machine like this, and I've ridden it across America. I mean, nobody in my family does that shit. Nobody does anything like that. You know, and I just hope in some small way that, I don't know, that he's proud. That he would be proud. I like to think he would, but I'll never know. But I think that's enough for one day. I don't know, it's till next time.